Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sebastian. Welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have an excellent show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So, as y'all aware, yesterday we had a bombshell story that caught everybody off guard when we found out that the Denver Nuggets decided to part ways not only with their head coach and Mike Malone, who they were just 2 seasons removed from winning the championship with, but also their general manager. And it was something that sent a jolt through the sports community. Everybody was reacting to it. And the number one thing people were reacting to was the timing of it, right? Apart from the fact that they fired him, given the fact that he just won a championship with the team not too long ago, was the timing of it. With just 3 or 4 games left into the season, this is literally the last week of the NBA season, folks. The last week. And they decided, in this case, management decided that it was time to move on from Mike Malone. And a lot of people were really surprised. A lot of people were like, why now? Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? Now, I want to give credit where credit is due. Yesterday, Too Raw for TV released a show. And he was reacting to the story, and the thing that he was most confused about was the timing. But then he said, this feels like something that benefits the Lakers. And at the time, as he was saying it, you could kind of hear in his voice that he was a bit reluctant to go down that path. But I understood what he was saying, but I'm like, yeah, but I'm not sure. Until I came across this segment on Speak for Yourself featuring Kevin Wiles, Chris Broussard, and Nick Wright. And they were reacting to this very story. So in the introductory section of them about to discuss the topic, Chris Broussard was laughing. And he was essentially calling out Nick Wright for secretly being happy that Mike Malone got fired. And Nick Wright was like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And as he said that, I immediately thought of what Too Raw said, and I'm like, oh, okay. I get where all of this is going. So as he was saying, I'm like, this is pretty interesting. This is something that we definitely got to talk about. But before I even get into what Chris Broussard had to say to Nick Wright, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. One of the things I love the most is making unforgettable memories with family and friends. And one of the things I hate the most is overpaying for tickets only to find out that there was a better deal out there. That's one of the reasons I started using Game Time. Game Time is the easy go-to app for last-minute tickets to sports, concert, and theater events across 60+ states in the US and Canada. Game Time saves me time, money, and stress by curating only the best deals, so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time scrolling through overpriced tickets. Game Time Picks is my favorite tool. It highlights the best value seats instantly. No more guesswork, no more wasting time. I'm really looking forward to the game coming up between the Knicks and the Cavaliers in New York on Friday. Here's what I like to do. I turn on all-in pricing so I know exactly what I'm paying for up front. I check Game Time Picks to find out the most valuable deals. And finally, I pick the ticket I want. I choose between the cheapest deal, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So for those of you who didn't hear what Chris Broussard had to say to Nick Wright, I want to play for you now. It's a very short piece of sound, and I'm going to come back and really get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. Take a listen to what Chris had to say to Nick Wright yesterday.
Live from
what
New
it
York.
is. What?
About Michael Malone?
No, I'm saying somebody on this set is overjoyed.
No, that's not fair, Brew.
They're over the moon. Look at his face.
I'm
Look at his
smiling
face.
because I literally said to you 4 minutes ago, don't say on the air I'm happy about this. I'm not.
All I said is somebody's overjoyed.
When someone gets
Could have
fired.
been either of them.
I'm not. It's certainly not me.
I do think that comeuppance sometimes happens, and I do think those of us that warned folks that said, I don't know, man, where Russ goes, guys usually lose their jobs.
That's
and
not
things
great.
Change. That's
Okay, so you heard what Chris Broussard said to Nick Wright. Okay, let me tell you what I think Chris was suggesting. I think Chris was suggesting that Nick Wright was happy because now Lakers / LeBron fans are celebrating because of the turmoil in Denver. Now, why would they be celebrating that? Well, the reason Laker fans and LeBron fans would be excited about this news is because for the last 2 seasons, Denver has been the team that's knocked them out of the playoffs. So when you now find out that a week and a half before the playoffs starts, they fire their head coach, you know it's going to cause some turmoil in the team. And with there being turmoil in the team, it now increases their chances of beating the Denver Nuggets if they were to meet them in a playoff series. So Chris was saying to Nick, you must be very happy now because now Denver doesn't have a head coach. They're going through drama, and it's made the Lakers' path a little bit more seamless to the Western Conference Finals. That's what Chris Broussard was calling out. Now, the question is, why would Chris Broussard call that out? Is there any truth to that? Of course there's truth to it. Of course there were people that were very happy about this. Of course there are. Is it a possibility that some of these guys are secretly celebrating? Of course it is. But for him to say that about Nick Wright, to Nick Wright on TV, and Nick was like, no, don't say it. I was telling you off camera, don't say it. It shows you there's some truth to it. Look, folks, the Denver Nuggets are in a free fall. And this is the worst time to be in a free fall. If we look at the NBA standings right now, I want to quickly show it to you. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the number 1 seed. Rockets are number 2. Lakers are number 3. Clippers are number 4. They've won 5 in a row. The Nuggets are now number 5. At one point, they were number 3. And they lost 4 games in a row. And they've lost 7 out of their last 10. They are essentially in a free fall right now. A total free fall. And if I look at the scheduling moving forward, they're going to be playing against the Kings, the Grizzlies, who are also in the playoff hunt, trying to get out of the play-in tournament, and the Rockets. So now, given the fact that there is turmoil in that locker room, there is no new head coach. I think Adelman is going to be the replacement coach. The chances of them pulling it all together have decreased. And therefore, who benefits by this? The Los Angeles Lakers. At least that's what Chris Broussard was essentially suggesting. Right? Now, it doesn't mean that it's all fun and games. Now, by the way, I want to point out something that I noticed yesterday in that Oklahoma City game. I watched that game, and there was an extremely controversial call that went down when Luka Doncic got tossed out of the game. At first, I thought he was talking to the referee. But ultimately, we find out he was talking to a fan. Now, here's something that I found to be quite interesting in that game. If you hear my daughter screaming in the background, she's just having a good old time. Are you aware that in that game, the Lakers took 37 free throws to the Oklahoma City Thunder taking 20 free throws? You know, SGA that pretty much leads the league in free throw attempts. You know how many free throws attempts he got yesterday? 11. The game before that, he got even less. So something interesting was going on there. Right? I don't want to make too much of it. People like, oh, they got treated unfairly by the refs and all of that stuff. Yeah, I get you. But also the refs was doing their thing for them, son. I mean, let's just keep it a bean. Let's just keep it a bean. They was doing them some favors too. Let's just keep it a bean. But the Lakers also have a tough schedule to close out the season. So look, are people celebrating this? Yes. But the point I'm making is don't celebrate too much. Because even if it's Denver, even if Denver's tumbling, there's still some legitimate teams out there. You still got the Warriors. You still got the Clippers. You still got the Thunder. You still got the Rockets. So those are some pretty stout teams. Those are not teams to just be like, oh, it's all over. Because even if Denver had Mike Malone, I wasn't sure that they were going to come out of the Western Conference anyway. There's still some real deal teams out there. So something worth paying attention to. Let me know what you guys think about what Chris Broussard had to say. And ultimately, do you think there's any truth to it? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And we'll catch you on the next show. Peace.